Need to get money out of a conservatorship estate, yet the letters of authority are restricted? Hi, I'm Darren Findling of the Probate Pro, and we're going to cover SCAO Form PC 673. SCAO for State Court Administrative Order, PC for Probate Court. And this form is readily obtainable through the internet, or you're welcome to call my office. We're happy to give it to you free of charge. Let's understand why this form is used and when to use it. Well, as the title says, it is a petition in order to use funds. So it's pretty intuitive. You're using it as a petition, a request of the court to access funds and use funds. In parentheses, you see it says conservatorship. So this would be used in the conservatorship context. On the bottom right corner of all of these SCAO forms, there are statutes or court rules or both that give rise to the creation of this particular form. So in this case, the statute is MCL 700.5427. And that statute, in essence, gives an expansion or limitation of the powers of a conservator as set forth in the other statutes. The court can limit it or expand it. And within many court orders and within the conservatorship context, often the funds in the conservatorship are restricted. They may be restricted by a court order or restricted by the letters of conservatorship. Especially this occurs in minor conservatorships quite often. So accessing the funds from that conservatorship requires a process. And this form is the process to get access to funds that are in a restricted bank account or in a restricted financial institution, to ask the court for the permission to do so, to use it for a particular purpose on behalf of the individual that is under conservatorship. So let's walk our way through the form. Top left corner is the county in which the conservatorship is pending. Top right corner, the blue rectangle, is the case number. As you can see from the heading, this is the petition. These documents are used, you sign them, and then they get filed with the court. Further down, you'll see in the matter of, that's simply the name of the conservatorship. And then you identify next to the word I, your name. As the conservator, you're making the request. Now, this particular form is used only when the conservator is making the request. So if some other party is trying to gain access to the conservatorship assets, this is not the form or process to do so. So the conservator is making the request of the court. The second paragraph identifies that the interested parties and the representatives are the same as set forth in the initial petition. The idea here with most of the SCAO forms is the court wants you to constantly update the court file to be assured that the court is apprised of any change of addresses, and to ensure that when petitions are filed and noticing is required, that the notice goes to the right recipient. The next part identifies the assets in the conservatorship estate. So it has the date of the filing of the petition, the total assets of the ward. This is the person that's under protection. So you'd identify the assets, and sometimes there's more information you do want to give to the court. So for example, you may want to delineate between those that are fixed assets or liquid versus illiquid assets and the nature of those assets. So you can provide the court with some context as to the available assets. So the reason the court wants to know this is often that is a relevant factor as to whether the court would approve the transaction. For example, if there's a little bit of money and a lot is being requested, the court may have a different opinion than when there are millions of dollars in the conservatorship and a small amount is requested. Section 4 is the request. You're asking the court for the permission to withdraw a certain sum of money from that account for the benefit of the ward. And you will indicate the basis for that request. So what are you asking for? Is it because the minor needs braces, a car, you're purchasing a particular item that you're asking the court for the authority to do so, and you believe it's in their best interest for that purchase? With all of these SCAO forms, they're signed under the penalties of perjury. You're asserting to the court that the information contained is true to the best of your information, knowledge, and belief. Signature on the petitioner on the right side, signature of the attorney, if there is one, on the left side. Below that is the court order. Now, this particular part gets ultimately signed by the judge, assuming the judge approves the transaction. The petition would either be denied, or in Section 6, it may be granted, and there could be limitations. So for example, if you ask for X, the court may say, no, I'm not giving you X. I'm not authorizing you to withdraw X, but I'm going to authorize you to withdraw a different amount of money. In addition, it provides for that the restricted assets will still remain for the remainder of the funds, and that a receipt must be provided to the court after the purchase. So for example, if you're asking the court to, as we used earlier, to buy braces for a child, and then you've paid for that expense, the court then wants a corresponding receipt evidencing that that occurred. Section 7 is the word other, which gives the court some additional room to write additional information about whether there's additional restrictions on the request or limitations on the request, and then the judge's signature. Below that is a certified piece that the deputy registrar can stamp on this so that when you're providing it to a financial institution, they understand that the document is an authentic document. And it even provides for an instruction to the financial institution. It says, do not accept any document other than a certified copy with a court seal. And this is really designed to prevent fraudulent transactions from occurring, persons utilizing this form for purposes of depleting or misappropriating assets out of a conservatorship estate. So this form gets completed and signed. We strongly urge you to attach supporting information. So again, using the braces context, a copy of the proposed billing schedule for the orthodontist. Maybe it's grades if the person is, you're asking the court for a prom dress. Maybe that the court may be interested in seeing that the student is a good student. So we urge you to attach additional information to give the court a full understanding of what's being requested and more context to the request. Often in a vacuum, the court doesn't have a lot of information. So coloring that information will give the court a better understanding of why you believe it's in the best interest for that withdrawal to occur. Again, with all petitions, they're filed with a corresponding process through the court. File with the court may schedule it for a hearing, or the court can rule on it ex parte without the necessity of a court hearing. At the Probate Pro, we are passionate about everything probate. If you have questions relating to a conservatorship or a petition for use of funds out of a conservatorship or any probate or trust related issue, visit us at theprobatepro.com or call us at 1-833-PROBATE.